Hello again. It's been much too long, I think, since we've seen each other, and I've missed you. Today, we're going to talk about a part of music that's really exciting and really fun. Orchestration. Now, this big word means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and we're going to try and clear up what it really means. Mainly, it means how a composer goes about arranging his music for an orchestra to play, whether the orchestra has 7 men in it, or 17, or 70, or 107, which is what we have here on this stage. Now, to start things off, we're going to play you a piece by Rimsky-Korsakov, the Russian composer, who is looked up to by most people as the real master of orchestration, the composer who wrote the most famous book about orchestration, and the one that so many other composers have imitated ever since. Now listen to this last part of the Capriccio Español by Rimsky-Korsakov, or the Spanish Caprice, and notice how brilliantly he makes the orchestra shine and how many different kinds of sounds he gets in 5 minutes of music, one after another, and how clear the music is, and most of all, how exciting the orchestration makes his music sound. Now, everybody will admit that that's a pretty exciting piece of orchestration. Brilliant. Now, let's take a look at one page of the conductor's score of this piece. This whole page, full of notes, is only 4 bars of music, this music you just heard. And it tells us everything that every instrument is doing in the orchestra for the duration of those 4 bars. This top part is the winds, this is the piccolo, and the flutes, and the oboes, and the clarinets, and the bassoon. And then come the horns, and this line has the trumpets on it. Here are the trombones, here is the timpani, and all these lines here are percussion instruments like castanets and snare drum and so on. This is the harp. And these are the strings at the bottom, the violins, first violins, second violins, the violas, the cellos, and finally the double basses. And that takes care of everybody in the orchestra. Now, how did Rimsky-Korsakov arrive at this page? What did he go through to figure it out? Well, to begin with, the music that he had in his head was made up of 4 different ideas. First of all, he had a big tune that went, and then he had another little tune that goes along with it. Then he has a Spanish rhythm, which is in the accompaniment. Then he has another Spanish rhythm at the same time in the accompaniment. Now, 4 different ideas. Now he was faced with the job of writing all that down for these 100-odd people to play in such a way that all 4 ideas would mesh together, strong and clear and exciting. And so he distributed the 4 ideas to the orchestra this way. He gave the big tune to the trombones here. Then he gave the other tune to the violins down here. Pardon my terrible voice, I can't sing in tune. la-da-da-da-da-da. Then he gave the first of those two Spanish rhythms, divided between the woodwinds and the horns. You see that? And then he divided the other Spanish rhythm between the timpani and the trumpets. And then that takes care of all four ideas. And it sounds this way after he put it all together. Fine. Now that sounds just great, especially with the addition of those percussion instruments giving it the Spanish flavor. Now what he did actually was to take the bare notes in his head and sort of put clothes on them so that they could go out into the world. After all, notes can't wander around naked. They have to be dressed up in orchestration. But good orchestration means not only clothes that you put music into, the way you wear a dress or a suit to keep yourself warm. It's got to be the right orchestration for that particular piece of music, like wearing the right suit or the right dress. Bad orchestration would be something like putting on a sweater to go swimming. It's just ridiculous. It's just wrong. Now, just for fun, let's listen to those same four bars again, orchestrated badly, just to see how wrong they can sound. You see how terrible that is? You can't hear the tune, the rhythms are too loud, and it all sounds clumsy and thick and not at all Spanish. So remember, what good orchestration means is orchestration that's exactly right for that music, and it lets the music be heard in the clearest and most effective way. Now that's pretty hard to do, because just think what a composer has to know before he can orchestrate a piece he's written. First, he has to understand how to handle each instrument separately. He has to know what it can do and what it can't do, what its lowest note is and what its highest note is, what its good notes are and its not so good notes, and all the different kinds of